Okay, so if you could just tell me your name and any background information about yourself.
My name is Jevon Collins. I'm the current program director at the King Arts Complex here on the New Year's side of Columbus, Ohio. So, I'm sorry. Look at you. Focus on you. That's okay.
It doesn't matter. You can look anywhere you want.
I just like to engage
Yeah,
everyone.
no, feel free. This is ignore the camera.
All right. Ignore the camera. Yes, my name is Jevon Collins. I'm the program director at King Arts Complex, native of Columbus, Ohio, alumni of the Ohio State University.
Great. Can you tell me a story about a time in your life when reading and writing played a role?
I think it really played a role when I first started reading and writing. Kindergarten and first grade, me and my friends were always excited to see who could read the fastest, who could comprehend the most information. So those early years were very formative for me. But as I grew through school and you get a little older, I realized that, I'm not, those friends were no longer around when I switched schools. So it was a little, I had some difficulties, kind of reading, public speaking and things of that nature was a little bit somewhat of an Achilles heel for me. But as far as writing, I was always creating stories and things of that nature. But from the onset, it was just seeing who could read the best, and that was really kind of fueled my passion for reading and writing.
Would you say that school played a big role in encouraging you to read and write?
I would agree. I mean, I think with any education for children, those early years are probably the most important years, and getting that foundation from my parents and things of that nature in an early age. So it wasn't like I was getting taught the basics on reading when I got to school. This was something that from the moment I could actually talk, they were teaching me how to read and write and things of that nature.
So how would you say that education differed from at home with your parents from school?
I think it was more, it was a part of curriculum, so it was structured, reading and writing, with my parents and, my siblings, it was more, I can't say it was lighthearted, it wasn't as serious as a school setting, where it was okay for me to laugh and things of that nature, but, when you're in school, you have to focus, no laughing, no nothing, it's serious, so they brought the fun into it. Not saying it wasn't fun in school, but I really enjoyed being, around my family, my mother, my sister, my brother, and have them read me stories. And then, at around age 5, I was able to read them stories. So.
That's great. Are you familiar with the Brown versus Board of Education ruling of Topeka, Kansas?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And would you say that ruling had any impact on your education?
I would say so. I mean, I think my background is an interesting one. My mother is biracial, so she grew up on the Near East Side of Ohio, in which my grandfather is Caucasian. So she had a different upbringing. So she, even today, I can't say she struggles with her identity, but based on the fact that she grew up in Poindexter Village, which was, a housing project here in Columbus, Ohio, she had some situations in which, she felt, a little different. She felt somewhat like an outsider and things of that nature. But all in all, coming up, my mom just always instilled in me to, kind of treat everyone as human beings. It doesn't matter, what their level of melanin they have or what they look like. We're all human beings. So, but based on Brown versus the Board of Education, I mean, it didn't really, change until, Judge Robert Duncan, 1979 here in Columbus, since I'm a graduate of Columbus Public Schools. So I didn't really feel the effects. I mean, I actually started off in Westville City Schools, and I didn't look at anyone any different from me. I knew that I may have a different, darker shade. But other than that, I looked at it, we're all kids. I didn't really put any race or anything on it. I was just too young to even understand what that was about. But I can't really say it really impacted me. I think it was a good opportunity, if anything, to gain experience from knowing people from all different races, cultures, and creeds and things of that nature. So it impacted me in a good way to really get the American experience based on getting to know and share thoughts and things with people who may not be from my neighborhood. So, but I think with my neighborhood, it was very multicultural. So, I kind of grew up, like I said, with my mother's situation, and just, in my neighborhood, it was very multicultural, multi-ethnic. So, it did affect me, but I don't think it directly affected me. I think it definitely allowed me to go on the path that I did, and being in certain situations at OSU, there was times where I was at events and I'm the only African American there. So you have to be able to deal and adjust and adapt, and not be fearful of being around other humans. So that was the main thing. But overall, I think it took a long time to really feel the impact. But overall, just my experience has always been pretty multi-ethnic, multicultural. I've never looked at anything like, hey, this person's Asian, this person's white. I look at everyone as human beings.
That's great. The battery, should we change it, do you think?
Huh?
I'm sorry I'm giving some long-winded...
No, that's great, man. We just... we're collectors of stories.
Yeah, I just want to stick to the script.
No, just keep going. We're fine.
Okay.
We've only got a few left.
What changes in education have you seen over the years from your time beginning school to nowadays?
Well, I came back in the days of, I started school in the, early to mid 80s, so it was a totally different time. Technology was way different. I mean, when we had to play games such as Number Munchers or Oregon Trail, you had a floppy disk, and you had to flip the disk and things of that nature. Growing up, there were, it really wasn't remote control when I was a youngster, so you had to get up and change the channel. But as far as with education, I think, there's more technology, so I think, the students are able to learn more, learn quicker, just with more things accessible to supplement what they're learning in school. So I think the children are brighter, I think, with the technology and with the access to information. But if anything, that's the positive, but the negative, I think there's been some disrespect for teachers, and there's been some teachers out there who just treat the job as a job, whereas for a teacher, I mean, you're someone that transcends lives. I remember being a youngster, and my teachers, I felt so close to them, and I would mistakenly refer to them as mom, because that's just that endearment that I had for them, because I know that they had my best interest in mind, and they wanted the best for me just as well as my mother and my family. So I think just the students are getting smarter, but I think there's certain things that when it came down to having to do things by hand and really do things without technology, I think that may be a little bit difficult with this new generation because they're so fixated on it. And for us, we had to do things, we had to find it out, we had to actually pick up a encyclopedia and look it up, whereas now you just can click on your phone and find all the information you need. So with it being readily accessible, you can see the intelligence growing, but at the same time, the core of really working to get a full I guess understanding of what it takes to get to the end result with the education, I think is probably the difference. But I think it's for the better. I think I came up from out of high school into college when the internet was pretty much brand new, and now nearly 20 years later, it's it's a way of life. So but overall, I think it's positive and there's negatives, but I just hope that the students nowadays understand their past presently to get through their future, and don't think that it's been this easy. Or I know it's difficult still, but it's been, for someone of my demographic, you can see that full transition from how technology is basically taken over.